This video is meant to be an introduction to the Floriani Fusion software, and we'd like to start by saying thank you for purchasing Floriani Fusion, and we certainly hope you love the program, and we're always happy to help you. And so this is a great place to start, and of course we suggest you watch all of the videos. So presuming that if you're watching this video you have found the RNK Software Club, and you know that there is a series of training videos that are for the Floriani Fusion software, and we recommend that you watch them all, but this is a perfect one to begin with. And so we'll try to learn as many kind of important features as we can in this introductory video, and then you can learn them in a little more depth when you go to their individual videos. And so let's go ahead and get started. And perhaps the first thing you'll notice is down at the bottom is the color palette, and you can scroll through all of the different colors in the Floriani Thread brand. And of course there's 360 colors in the brand, and you have got them all here. However, if you're using any other thread brands, over on the left, to the left of the toolbar is the Select a Thread Chart tool, and you can change to any brand of thread from Quilter Select to Embellish to all kinds of popular brands of embroidery thread, and whatever brand you choose becomes the color palette at the bottom. The second row is the colors in the design, and so these are the colors that have been used in the creation of this embroidery design. And I also want to pop out down at the bottom, there's a pop-up palette, and the pop-up palette opens up. You can actually move it around and kind of put it where you want to. You can even resize it, make it larger, but the idea is now you can scroll through the colors very quickly, and if there was a color you really needed to get, you could right click and say add this to the design palette, and that would then add it. And you can close this at any time, so when you click on the pop-up palette it opens up, and when you click on close it goes away. And if you're looking for fabrics, that's also where you'll find your fabric library. And so the software comes with some fabrics and gives you tools to add your own fabrics to the program. And so that's kind of how that all works. Probably one of the first things you're going to want to do is open an embroidery design. So you're going to look up to the top of the software where it says open. You can also use the file drop down menu to choose open. Essentially it's the same option. When you click on open, it gives you a window that you can browse to the different locations of your computer. When you click on an embroidery design, it will kind of give you an icon of what it looks like, and it will tell you what size it is and how many stitches. And if you click open, then that design will open up, and essentially you can have more than one design open at the same time. So notice that I still have the design that says Floriani Fusion, but I also have the baby whale kind of by itself. And in fact, if I click new right now, I'll have a new empty workspace. And so you're allowed to work on as many designs at a time as you want to. And another way to open designs is to use the browser tab on the right hand side. And so with the browser tab, I can find all of the folders of my computer, and when I click on one, I'll need to click on the Designs tab to see the contents of that folder. It'll start up as kind of a single row of designs, but you can click on that edge of it and bring it over to see more designs at a time like that. And essentially you can kind of graphically look through a whole folder of designs very quickly, and if you find something that you want to embroider, you simply click on it and drag to bring it onto your workspace. And so once the design is on your workspace, you can see the colors that are in that design, and if it says they're Floriani colors but you wish they were another color brand, you could easily click on this tool here, which is to match the design to another palette. So now you could say, listen, I really want this design, but I've got the Embellish matte thread collection. And so if I choose, it will closest match the design to the closest matched colors. And notice now in my sequence area that all of the colors of my design are listed in that different brand of thread. So that's a little bit about colors. Another thing is about on the left, you have a lot of the main tools here, everything from your zoom tool or your ruler to measure, the select tool that you would use to click to select things. You have your visualization tools like turning on 3D mode on and off, or inserting a backdrop or a picture into the background. And so you can have like images that are not really embroidery, but they become something to trace over. So that's really a lot of comes up when you want to create embroidery. You might need to have a backdrop, and here's a tool that's to show or hide the backdrop. So it's still there. I can just hide it, just like I can hide the stitches on and off. And notice that when the stitches are turned on, that the button turns orange, and so any button that's highlighted orange means it's currently turned on. So 3D is on, and our select tool is on, and we can click to select something just like that. And so this is kind of how it works. You can open an embroidery design, and of course you'll want to save an embroidery design. And so when I choose File and Save, if I choose Save, it's going to just want to save. This design doesn't have a name yet. It's simply called Design 2, and when we brought the design from our Designs tab, we simply added these designs to our workspace, which is called Design 2. And really we need to save it. So you need to give it a name, and click on Save and choose a location on your computer where you want to save it. Give it a name. It's called Design 2. You can call it anything you want. We recommend you save all your designs in the Floriani WAF file. That's what comes up first. Just click Save. Of course, we know that you can't stitch the Floriani WAF file, and at some point you're going to need to make another file, and so you can always click on File and Save As, so that when you choose Save As, it allows you to change the location or change the name or change the format. And the format type is here, so you click on that, and now you can browse through all the different formats that you can save to. And so if you had a Brother or a Baby Lock, you would choose a PES version. And if you had the Janome, the Jeff, or the Viking and the FAF, use the VP3 or VP4 or the VIP. And so this is how you can save your design to any number of different formats. And when you do, you simply click Save. So I could have put it on a USB stick in PES to take to the machine, but I also saved it as the Floriani WAF file so that if I want to make edits to it, I can go back to my original file. And that's especially important when you're creating text or really designing your own embroidery, because you'll have more editing capabilities if you save your original file with the original font. And when you save the PES, really you're saving stitches. And so more information is stored in a WAF file than is in an embroidery file like Jeff or PES. So save both is the point, and then when you want to make edits, go back to the WAF file. So that's a little bit about that. There are lots of tools on the toolbars, and if you just hover over them, you will get a name that pops up that tells you what it is. And certainly using the help drop-down menu to learn more is a great idea. If you want to find out about a tool, go to the Fusion Software manual, and this will bring up, the contents. You can read through the manual one page at a time, or you can click on Search and type in a word here. Search for applique and list all of the topics, and then double click on the different properties to get the different articles, to see what was written about applique. So that's one way that you can certainly look for more information. Also in the help drop down menu are important things like the About tool, where you'll find out what version of the program you're currently using, and then check for updates to see if there's any newer versions, because you'll always want to keep your Floriani software up to date. Anytime we do an update for the Floriani program, we may update the formats, we may update some of the functionality, and so that's how you can get the updates. Demo mode is your chance to actually try the other programs that you don't own to see if you like them before you buy them. And so if I choose demo mode, it would give me a list of all the different Floriani software. If you leave it all checked off, it's like trying everything that's available. If you own Floriani Fusion, then you own the first check. That's what Fusion is. Fusion plus the Fusion upgrade really means FTCU, and that's the main sort of all of our embroidery capabilities, and Fusion is part of FTCU. So the first two checks would be like, if I bought FTCU, Trevor, what would it look like? What would I have? And if you checked off Sketch-A-Stitch, that's another program that you could add. In fact, you could be like, what if I just add Sketch-A-Stitch to my Fusion? What would that look like? And so this is your ability to try it. Essentially what happens is when you say OK, it'll close down the program and start again in a demo mode. Everything will work, but not the save button or the print button. So you can try the tools, but don't play too much because you won't be able to save what you made. All that said, also in the help drop-down menu is another way that you could start a support ticket. So if you're looking for help, you click on support ticket. That will take you directly to the RNK Software Club website, directly to the place where you could enter for support. And if you ask for support, you'll get your reply by email, and then you can simply reply to that email, but it puts it into our ticketing system, which is our most efficient way to be able to help you. And certainly we are happy to help you. So just so you know, that is one great way to reach out for us. Of course, you can call our office or email us too, but the support ticket is just a little bit more advanced because it makes it easy for us to find the information, and even later on, years later, if you have a question, we can look up, all your past questions. So using the support is awesome. Okay, all of that said, there's a ton of things that we can learn about the program, and obviously lettering is going to be one of the first things you're going to want to do. There's a lot of different lettering tools, and there's a video for each one, but just in general, when I click on a tool, my cursor gets a little letter A on it, and it means I need to click on the workspace to place down my text. And it puts in the words my text, but of course you're meant to change the text to be whatever you want to make it say. And once you type that in, you click apply to update the text. And you'll notice that when you enter into the text that you have a properties box area where you can easily change all aspects of the text. When you hover over the text, it shows you all the characters that are available in this font, upper, lower case, numbers, letters, symbols, these kind of things. If you click on the list, it'll allow you to visually scroll through the different letter styles that come with the program. The ones that have the O's in front of them means they have other options. So this is broadcast in the default style, but there's also broadcast in the run stitch outline style. Or I could do the satin stitch outline style, only it's probably kind of small for that. And if to look good, I would need to make it, bigger. And then I think you'd find that the satin outline looked proper. So, there's a little bit of learning that's involved. And that's why, it's great that you can ask for support and watch all of these wonderful videos. And of course, don't forget to visit your local Floriani store, because we know that they're going to be happy to see you guys, and they have classes and educators that can help you with learning stuff as well and answering questions. So this is the text tool, and probably the most important thing to learn about the text tool, other than the fact that it's pretty easy to change it all, is that when you click on your select tool, you're in what's known as select mode, where you could easily stretch the text to a different sort of dimension, wider or skinnier. If you use a corner handle, you'll resize it kind of in proportion. And I love when you use the select tool, how it puts little numbers and little symbols around it, like the size of it. Or if you just want to zoom in on that one thing, click on the zoom tool right there. And if you want a copy of it, click on the copy tool. And so you'll find that there's a lot of very helpful, easy to use tools. And probably one of the coolest ones is the dynamic floating toolbar that seems to always have exactly the right sort of tools that you need at the time. And so you could use this to start a new text segment, but you could also use this to get your select tool. And once you selected a text segment, it would have other options like the undo option or the flip or the rotate option or the duplicate option. And so you'll notice that the contents of this toolbar seem to change depending on what you select. And there's a lot to learn about, but in general, it's very easy to learn, and we certainly hope that you love using the Floriani software. One of the things that I think is cool about text is that once you have created the text, you can go back into the text editing mode. And so notice that if I right click and change to edit text, that I get all of these different handles. And if the blue handles will move all of the letters after the blue handle. And so if there was some area where you wanted to move the O and the N over just a little bit further away to look better, you can do that very easily with the handles. And then the gold handles are for moving one letter without affecting the rest of the letters. So now I can move the O left or right, but not affect the N. I can also move it off of the baseline. So if I wanted to do some kind of a unique sort of arrangement of my letters, I can easily do that. And I could resize one letter bigger or smaller than the rest of the letters, or rotate one letter to the rest. And so really you'll find out that it's very, very powerful what you can do with the text tools once you learn how to select the text, how to right click to go into the edit text menu, and how easy it would be to add a text envelope. And so these are the kind of things that you will learn about in going through all the individual videos. But in general, you have drop-down menus that have probably some of the features that you don't use every day. These are kind of more of the specialty ones. This is your toolbars drop-down menu, so you can see what toolbars are turned on or are turned off. This is a popular tool to reset your workspace. So if you ever seem to have closed a toolbar and can't find it again, you can click reset your workspace, and that will put all your toolbars back to kind of their factory default settings. Along the toolbars, each toolbar has a handle in front of it that you can use to click and drag to bring it off of the workspace or move its sort of location if you want to. But the idea is that it's a little bit individualizable. You can change the way the layout is. But so this is kind of the overview of the program without describing every single tool. At the top, you have your general toolbar with things that you do in Windows like open and save and cut, copy, and paste and undo and redo. This is where you can find all of the program preferences that you can use to, customize the sort of settings of the program. This tells me how zoomed in I am, and I can zoom in with the zoom tool just by clicking with my left click, or zoom out with my right click. I can also click and drag a box to zoom to wherever I drag. And if I double click on the zoom magnifying tool, it fills my workspace with my embroidery design. And so you will want to learn about all of the cool creation tools and how the program is artwork-based embroidery, and how literally if I create a square, I created a piece of vector artwork, and it says in the sequence view that it's artwork, but then I can convert this into embroidery by simply coming to the bottom and clicking on Run Stitch, and now I've made a run stitch square. Or I could make it an applique, and now the program will convert that square into the stitches of an applique, which would have 3 color stops. It would start with a run stitch, and then you would place your fabric, and then it would have a second run stitch that you would trim around, and finally finish it with a cover stitch, and that's how applique works. And you'll watch the applique video to learn in more detail, but notice when I select this square and it says that it's an applique now in the sequence view, and the properties box talks about the settings for an applique. Like maybe you want to do a blanket edge applique to make it look more handmade. And so the concept is we drew a piece of artwork and then made it applique. If I come over here and click on fill, it's no longer an applique, it's a fill. And it now says that it's a fill, and the properties box changed to the properties of a fill. And so just understand that it's what we call artwork-based embroidery, and that the yellow star at the bottom is your ability to convert back into artwork. And really, we call these tools at the bottom the one-click wonders, because if you have a shape, you can select it and easily convert it from run stitch, a motif outline, a steel stitch outline. You could create a satin fill or a standard fill or a fancy fill or a motif fill. You can do embossing, you can do stipple. There's all kinds of types of stitches that you create with one click. And eventually you'll want to do some digitizing, and you'll use the backdrop tool to put a backdrop onto your workspace, and maybe use some of the drawing tools to click and click and click to, click around your space. And you will also have a wizard hat that's over here that you could use to automatically digitize your backdrops. And essentially you'll go through a series of steps where you click on an image, you open it, and you say next, you interact with the size, you say next, you interact with the colors, you say next, you interact with the tolerance of the vectorizing and the background, and you say next. You decide whether you want trims or lock stitches, and when you say finish, it creates the embroidery for you. And even though we didn't create this embroidery, the software did, we could now select the pieces and convert them to embroidery other styles. And so really it's as easy as that. And we hope that you love the Floriani Fusion software. And so please watch all the videos. Please visit your local Floriani dealer and sign up for their local classes and clubs. And please reach out to us when you have questions. But that is all for today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.